What's up, everybody? I am Jab Queen Boxing, and welcome to another episode of Boxing's Dirty Secrets. In the brutal theater of professional boxing, we're told we're watching a pure contest of skill, heart, and power. A test between two athletes who, on paper, are separated by just a few pounds. But what if that's a lie? What if the most important move of the entire fight isn't happening in the ring, but in the 24 hours before the bell even rings? This is a story of boxing's biggest, most dangerous, and most accepted secret. A legal cheat code that lets fighters transform themselves overnight, gaining an advantage so huge it can decide the fight before a single punch is thrown. Watch any weigh-in. You see a fighter who looks gaunt, skeletal, barely scraping at the contracted limit. They look drained, depleted, a ghost of the explosive athlete we expect. Then, 24 hours later, they step through the ropes. They're bigger, fuller, their muscles are carved out, their presence is imposing. They look like a different person. This is how boxing's biggest stars legally gain up to 20 pounds in 24 hours. They step on the scale as one man and into the ring as another. But is this just a masterful strategy? A testament to modern sports science? Or is it a sanctioned form of cheating that makes a mockery of weight classes and puts lives at risk? This practice is called weight cutting, and it's combat sports' biggest open secret. It's standard procedure, but it feels like a dirty trick. The whole point of weight classes is to ensure a fair fight, to pit athletes of similar size against each other. It's a foundational rule. But the 24 to 36-hour gap between the official weigh in and the actual fight has created a massive loophole. This window isn't just for rehydrating, it's for radical transformations. Fighters aren't just sipping water, they are meticulously re engineering their bodies. A welterweight who hits the 147-pound limit can balloon up and walk into the ring as a 165-pound middleweight. This is crazy. A middleweight at 160 can suddenly become 180 light heavyweight. This isn't a slight edge. It's a fundamental change in the physics of the fight. The bigger man can often punch harder, right? Take more punches and physically bully a smaller opponent. Kevin Haney. Excuse me. The system designed for fairness has accidentally created a hidden competition, a dangerous game of extreme dehydration and rehydration that's become just as critical as sparring. The question is no longer just who's the better boxer, who's better at gaming the scales. So, how is this even possible? The process is a brutal two-act play of manipulating the body. Act 1, is the cut. And it has nothing to do with losing fat. It's about draining the body of its most vital resources, water. For days, sometimes weeks before a weigh in, fighters systematically dehydrate themselves. They'll wear plastic sweatsuits and saunas, pushing their bodies to insane temperatures to sweat out every last ounce. They cut sodium and carbs for their diet to stop water retention. In the final hours, they might stop drinking anything at all. This process is incredibly dangerous, pushing the body to the edge of collapse. Dehydration thickens the blood, makes the heart work harder, and jacking up the risk of cardiac arrest. It puts a massive strain on the kidneys and liver, sometimes leading to organ damage. And maybe the most terrifying part for a boxer, it reduces the cerebral fluid that cushions the brain. A fighter who steps into the ring, even partially dehydrated, is at a much higher risk of concussion and traumatic brain injury because their brain has less protection from punches. This leads to confusion, rage, and fatigue. All terrible states for an athlete whose mind needs to be as razor sharp as a freaking weapon, guys. Then comes Act Two, the rehydration. The second a fighter steps off the scale, the race is on. This isn't about chugging a few sports drinks. It's a scientific and sometimes controversial process. Fighters use specific electrolyte solutions and carb heavy meals to force fluid back into their cells, right? So, in the past, many relied on IV drips for rehydrating faster, a practice obviously now banned by a lot of the anti-doping agencies. Like I think WADA banned it because it can also mask performance enhancing drugs, right? Like so that's why they don't allow. But even without the IVs, the gains are staggering, right? But okay, so taking in thousands of calories and gallons of fluid, a fighter can pack on like 10 to 15, even 20 pounds, transforming from a depleted shell into a powerhouse. Boxing history is full of fights where the scales told one story and fight night told another. But no case is more tragic than Arturo Gatti versus Joey Gamache in, what was that, 2000? Both men made the 140-pound weight limit, right? But on fight night, the size difference was incredible. HBO's unofficial scale had Camachi at 145 pounds, while Gotti had exploded by an incredible 19 pounds to enter the ring at 160. It wasn't a fight, it was a beatdown. Gotti, basically a middleweight now, destroyed Gamachi, knocking him out cold in the second round. Camachi suffered career ending brain damage and reportedly still deals with the consequences to this day. Now, a lawsuit later found that the athletic commission was negligent, but the damage was already done. And that wasn't a one off. The practice had just gotten more sophisticated, if you will, right? So today's superstars, one in particular, Canelo, a generational talent, no doubt, is famous for his rehydration. After weighing in at 155-pound catchweight to fight Cotto, he reportedly entered the ring at 170 pounds. Against Lara, Canelo weighed in at 155 and rehydrated to 171, while Laura only got to 166. That size difference became a weapon. Now, other fighters use these weight advantages as a contractual blend them, right? Like, so take Canelo's fight against Amir Khan, where Khan, a natural welterweight, agreed to move up to 155-pound catchweight, right? On fight night, Khan stated he weighted around, 158? While claiming Canelo had ballooned to an incredible 187. The size and power disparity was huge, and the fight ended with a brutal one punch knockout that left Khan unconscious on the canvas. It's a stark example of how catchweights, intended to make fights happen, can be used to create dangerous mismatches. So, why do fighters risk their health for this? Simple, because it works. A big size and weight advantage can be the great equalizer. It translates to raw physical power that skills sometimes can't overcome. The heavier fighter carries more power in their punches. It's just a fact. Their extra mass helps them absorb shots, giving them a better chin. And their sheer strength can be used to dominate in the clinch, lean on an opponent, and just wear them down. When two boxers have similar skill, a 10 or 15-pound difference can decide the outcome. It undermines the whole point of weight classes, which exist to prevent a good big man from always beating a good little man. The practice is so problematic that the Association of Boxing Commissions has flagged extreme weight cutting as a dangerous practice that jeopardizes fighters' safety and competitive fairness. It shifts the battle from the ring to the lab. It rewards the fighter who can better survive the hell of a weight cut, not necessarily the one with more boxing talent. It's a legal cheat code that lets athletes fight in divisions far below their natural weight, making them look like a wrecking ball against a smaller man. Of course, there's another side to this, right? Like, so some defenders will argue that since everybody does it, the playing field is level. It's just another part of the game, a test of their discipline, right? Blah blah blah. Wham wham wham. They'll also point out that a bad weight cut can backfire, right? Like a fighter who drains themselves too much can be left weak and depleted on fight night, no matter how much they rehydrate, whatever. Their reflexes get shot, their stamina disappears. We've seen plenty of fighters look sluggish and get knocked out right after a bad weight cut. But this argument conveniently ignores the system's role in all of this, right? Boxing's commissions and sanctioning bodies are complicit. They create the day before weigh-ins decades ago, thinking, it would be safer. Instead, it just encouraged more extreme cuts. The fact that rehydration clause they even exist is a quiet admission that the system is broken. These clauses are a band-aid on a gaping wound. They're inconsistently applied and usually forced on the less powerful fighter, creating yet another unfair advantage. The system created the problem and then offered a flawed, easily manipulated solution. So, what do we think, right? Is massive weight cutting just a necessary evil of the sport? A brutal but fair test of a fighter's will? Or is it the biggest legal cheat in boxing? A dangerous game that undermines the entire sport. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. And if you're finding this look into boxing's dirty little secrets interesting, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. We're live every Thursday at 5:30 and every Saturday too. The truth is, guys, there is no easy answers here. Weight cutting is dangerous, widespread practice that offers a real advantage. But it goes against the very idea of fair play that's supposed to define the sport. Now, we celebrate the warrior spirit of these athletes, but we also have to question a system that forces them to wage a life threatening war on their own bodies before they even step into the ring. What are the long term health consequences for the men and women who go through these extreme cycles, fight after fight, year after year? Could the sport fix itself? Now, some say bring back the same day weigh ins. I am in agreement with that. But that risks fighters competing while dangerously dehydrated. Others suggest more frequent weight checks leading up to the fight. But until the commissions, promoters, and fighters decide to put long term health ahead of short term advantages, this dangerous game will continue. And the question will remain, are we watching a fair fight or just the explosive result of a battle that was already won on the scales?